says, again, I saw all the oppressions that are done under the sun. And behold, the tears of the oppressed, and they had no one to comfort them. On the side of their oppressors there was power, and there was no one to comfort them. And then I thought the dead who are already dead are more fortunate than the living who are still alive. Ever felt that way?
Yeah.
You'd be better off dead?
Yes, sir.
But better than both is he who has not yet been born, and has not seen the evil deeds that are done under the sun. You ever said that? I wish I was never born. Or you ever said, I wish anyone never born? Verse 4, then I saw that all the toil and skill in work came from a man's envy of his neighbor. This also is vanity and striving after the wind. The fool folds his hands and eats his own flesh. Better is a handful of quietness than 2 hands full of toil and a striving after the wind. Again, I saw vanity under the sun. One person who has no other, neither son or brother, yet there is no end to all his toil, and his eyes are never satisfied with riches, so that he never asks, for who am I toiling and depriving myself of pleasure? This also is vanity and an unhappy business. 2 are better. Here's a very famous marriage verses. 2 are better than 1 because they have a good reward for their toil. For if they fall, one will lift up his fellow, but woe to him who is alone when he falls and has not another to lift him up. Again, if 2 lie together, they keep warm, but how can one keep warm alone? And though a man might prevail against one who is alone, 2 will withstand him, and a threefold cord is not quickly broken. Better was a poor and wise youth than an old and foolish king who no longer knows how to listen to advice. For he went from prison to the throne, though in his own kingdom he had been born poor. I saw all the living who move about under the sun, along with that youth who was to stand in the king's place. There was no end of all the people, all of whom he led, yet those who come later will not rejoice in him. Surely this also is a vanity and a striving after the wind. You may be seated. God's word is pointed. God's word is direct. It's there for a reason. It says what it says for a reason. And a lot of times we get to Ecclesiastes and we read some of this and it kind of sounds redundant, doesn't it? Monotonous. He's repeating himself. And like I've said before, that is the theme, that's the idea of Ecclesiastes, because life is that way. Life is monotonous. Life is redundant. Life constantly sometimes feels like it never changes. It's the same old, same old. A lot of the guys at the construction yard or lumber yard, you know, when you ask them, how's your day, man? Or what's going on today? They'll say, usually use bad words, but basically same jump, just different day. You ever heard that saying? Well, that's what Solomon is saying here. Same stuff, different day. It's all the same, just another day. Solomon, though, he's going to start breaking down some details here in chapter 4. Verse 1, he says, and then I looked again at all the acts of oppression which were being done under the sun. Behold, I saw the tears of the oppressed, and that they had no one to comfort them. And on the side of their oppressors was power, but they had no one to comfort them. Now, would you guys agree with me that in today's world, there are many forms of injustice? Now, what would you guys consider? You can talk back, verbalize. What are some forms of injustice that you see today?
This first one I think is
Alienation. What else?
Court system.
Huh?
Court system.
The court, yeah. Court system. What else? How about killing babies?
That's what I said.
Yeah, Lord, speaking up for those who can't speak for themselves. What about some other injustices that you think of? How about, you know what's really huge right now that is not talked a lot about is the sex slave stuff. The girl prostitution and see the strip clubs, all those things. You think, oh man, it's just innocent. These girls are just volunteering, and some of them are, but some of them are forced into that and sold, and it's really rampant, and it's a very, very lucrative and high, make a lot of money, but it's an injustice, and we just kind of turn a blind eye to it, and we know it's there, but we just kind of ignore it. There's a lot of injustices in our life, in our system, in our worlds. What was it?
Human trafficking.
Yeah, human sex trafficking, a lot of that, all rolled together as many injustices. And Solomon is saying, as a king, I'm looking out amongst my people, kind of like the president, saying, look, these are the things that are wrong in my country. These are the things that are broken. This is how the court's messed up. This is how the legal system's messed up. This is going on. This is going on. And as he sits on his throne, he can see, man, there's a lot of injustice. There's a lot of things going on that he didn't like, that were wrong. And in today's time, has that changed? No. There's a lot of stuff going on that is, and this is what Solomon is saying in verse 1. He says that he looks about those who are oppressed and the oppressors. He says, most of the time, the people that have the power to change things don't. Or do not change it for the better of the whole, but they change it for the betterment of themselves. He's saying that those who oppress, those in power, many times do not use that power to help those, but actually to hinder. Now, the way I want to practically use this is this. So maybe you're not the president of the United States. Maybe you don't have this overarching, huge authority. But here's what the Bible says, that each of us have some kind of authority or power in our life. If you're a husband, God has given you authority. If you're a father, you've been given authority. If you're a mother, if you're a friend, if you're an employee or an employer, you have authority. You've been given power in this life. Think of some things in your life that you have power over. What do you have power over? What do you control in your life? What decisions do you make? What kind of control do you have in your life? Like how you spend your money? Time, how you spend your time? Where you're going to live? Where you're going to eat? That's kind of a real hard one. I don't think anybody has power over that.
Beans.
Do what?
Beans.
Yeah.
Garlic Cafe.
Beans.
That's where you have to get them.
The question Solomon asking is this, is if all human beings have been given authority and a power by God, and even like you're just at your little house and it's you and your wife or you and your kids and this and that, and you have authority. God has given you authority. God has given you a power. And men in particular, we like that. We crave that. We seek that. We portray that we have authority. We have power. We're the boss. We get to make the decisions. And Solomon's asking this question to you, to me, to us. If you have power, and it doesn't matter what, if it's in your job, if you're a boss, or you're an employer, or you're a lead, or you're a manager, or you're just a leader that the guys look up to, or you're whatever it may be in your life, or you're a stay-at-home mom, or you're a wife. God says, whatever power, whatever authority has been given to you. Solomon's question is this: how are you using your power? How are you using the authority that God's giving you? Are you using it or are you abusing it? And the people in your life, would they call you when they say, man, that guy, when they think about you, what do they think? How do you use the power that God's given you? How do you use the power that other people have given you? Do you abuse it? Do you ignore it? Do you exalt it over people? Do you oppress people with it? That, yes, I am greater than you. My financial status says I am better than you. I drive a better car than you. You have to listen to me because I am better. God says, how do you use your power? Because man has power. We have authority. He doesn't question that. He's questioning, how do we use it? As a father, how do I use my authority over my children? Do I do it to hopefully nurture and admonish them and lead them to the Lord? Or do I dominate them because I'm insecure and they're the only people that I can make listen to me? See, guys, we have a lot of, come on in, sir. We have a lot of issues, a lot of things with power and with dominance, and how do you use it? Then he goes on to this. He says in verse 2, talking about power and authority, he says, so I congratulate the dead who are already dead more than the living who are still living. So you get this idea that he says, okay, if we all have authority, we all have a power, there's the people that are oppressed and the oppressors. He says this. Like Ken said, we are in Ecclesiastes chapter 4. Good to see you. He says this: if we have power, if we have authority, and we lord it over people, we use it the wrong way. And sometimes, guys, I don't know about you, but there's been days in my life, seasons in my life, moments in my life, where you know what I literally thought? I'd be better off not here.
Yeah.
This world, I could go, it would keep on going without me. No one would even miss me. No one would even know I was gone. And that is a lie. Let me tell you, first of all, that is a lie that Satan tells you, the flesh tells you, the world tells you. It wants a permanent solution to, to a temporary problem.
Yes.
And we try to tell ourselves that we're not worth anything and we're better off dead. And Solomon's looking at this thing that sometimes, guys, the world gets very, very big. And it makes us very, very small. And Miguel, tell me this is true. Sometimes the problems outweigh the solutions. And the issues in your life are greater than you don't even know where to start. You have so many things on your list of problems and relationships and finances and jobs and school and holy smokes, what's my future look like? What does my career look like? And you get overwhelmed and you get stressed out. And some people, guys, they go through assault or issues or depression and they get to a place where they think, you know what? The only way out is all the way out. The only way out is all the way out. And the world's beat them so much, lied to them so much, they said, you know what? I'm cashing out. I'm done. I'd rather be dead. It'd be better for me to be dead. He says, because of the oppression in this world, I consider the dead better off than the living. Thanks, Robert. Verse 3, Ecclesiastes 4:3, Solomon says, but better off than both of them is the one who has never existed, who has never seen the evil activity that is done under the sun. So Solomon says, okay, it's good to have been born. And then you get to a point in your life, you're like, man, just kill me. Just put me out of my misery. But then he goes a step further and says, you know what? Some people actually feel like the world would have been better off had they never been born. Sometimes, guys, this is a sin or something you've committed against somebody else and it hurts you so deep. And you know you hurt them and you cut them, and the grief and the pain and the struggle says, you know what? I wish I was never born. Or maybe you've been told, I wish you were never born. Or the world would have been better had you had never been born. And that's what Solomon is talking about here. He's saying that there are times in life, there are situations and seasons where this happens to us. Human nature, though, and society, what has happened is we don't like to talk about that very much. We don't like to bring it up. We don't want to look weak. We don't want to have all these issues going on that, you know what, I'm struggling with my worth, I'm contemplating suicide. Or guys, that's a very real struggle that a lot of people deal with every single day.
Yeah.
And they go around and they smile and they put on this front, they put on this face, but inside they're dead. They wish they were dead. There is no joy, there is no life, and they know, or they have deceived themselves or been lied to long enough that they feel like the world would have been better off if they had never been born. Guys, I want you to consider this week as you go around and consider people that, you know what, sometimes when you run into people and they're and they rub you the wrong way because they're sassy, or they have attitude, or they're this, you know what, I try to assume that, you know what, they might be dealing with something that I have no clue about. They might be having a really bad day because then I'm reminded of how I act when I have a bad day. I remember how I act when I'm under stress. I remember how I act when things are bothering me, how I could snap and treat at people. So you need to give people the benefit of the doubt that, you know what, they just don't like you. Maybe they got a phone call.
Yeah.
Maybe they got a text. Maybe they walked out their door that morning at odds with their spouse. They're not even sure if they're going to return and their spouse will even be home. Or maybe they're going through a divorce. Or maybe their kids are going crazy. Or maybe they just got bad news from the doctor. And instead of being a jerk back at that person, that is the time that Jesus says, you demonstrate my love. You demonstrate my grace and my mercy, and you let them know that somebody cares and somebody is listening and somebody understands, instead of judging them and leaving them 2 pennies for a tip.
Yeah.
Guys, Jesus says you do not treat others that we treat them as you'd want to be treated. Actually, you treat them above that. You go beyond that. You love covers a multitudes of sins. You get over yourself and you look at them. And if they are just a natural jerk by nature, God will deal with them. That is not your job to show them up or to teach them a lesson. All you're teaching them is that grace does not exist and that God is not love. That's all you're teaching. When in fact, we know that the very opposite is true. We're to be graceful and loving to people. Matthew Henry says this: "It grieved Solomon to see might prevail against right. Wherever we turn, we see melancholy proofs of the wickedness and misery of mankind, who try to create trouble to themselves and to each other. Being thus hardly used, men are tempted to hate and despise life. But a good man, though badly off while in this world, cannot have cause to wish he had never been born, since he is glorifying the Lord even in the fires, and will be happy at last, forever happy." He's saying, listen, if you're a godly man, that even in the midst of fires, trials, and temptations, you should find joy in the Lord. That you should find that your strength and hope should come in and from the Lord. But he goes on to say this: "Ungodly men have most cause to wish the continuance of life with all its vexations, as a far more miserable condition awaits them if they die in their sins. If human and worldly things were our chief good, not to exist would be preferable to life, considering the various impressions here below." So what he's doing is comparing this: a life with God and a life without God. If there is no God, if there is no salvation, if there is no hope, then he is agreeing. What's the point? If there is no Jesus Christ, if there is no life, death, burial, resurrection, ascension, and second coming of Jesus, Solomon is asking the question, then who cares? Then what is the point? Then yes, the truth remains. If there is no Jesus, then whoever has the most toys wins. Then that is the game. And even that's worthless. Because once you die, guess what? It's gone.
Right.
So he says, life with God is the only life with meaning. Without God, there is nothing. That is why, Robert, you feel sick. All over the place it says this, that life with God is the reason and purpose for everything we do. But if you understand people, think about you. How was your life? What did you experience before you came to faith in Jesus? Loss, misery, guilt, shame, incomplete, maybe forsaken and sin, just sin-ridden. And life didn't make much sense apart from Jesus, did it? You didn't know what to do with your sin. You didn't know why you acted the way you did. You didn't understand why people acted the way they did. A lot of things weren't clear. But the moment that Jesus pursued you and saved you and called you by name, life made a little more sense. It didn't mean that he's going to snap his fingers and you're just going to have the greatest life in the entire world, that you would never suffer, that you would never have a hard day, that you would never, people wouldn't like you. But what he did promise is we can get through anything together.
Amen.
Right.
That you and me will get through anything together. That is the promise Jesus has made. He never said, I will get you around things. He says, we will go through things. That is Jesus. That is the relationship that Jesus brings. God never called Christians to go around, but to get through. That is what the world needs to see. See, all the Christians, the preaching and teaching of a lot of modern days is books written on how to avoid, how to get around, how to ignore. Jesus says we go straight through. We go right through God. We face the storm.
Yeah.
Jesus says what we heard Charles Stanley and James shared with us a few weeks ago is that whatever seems to be over your head is under the feet of Jesus.
Amen.
It doesn't, life is that way, doesn't it? It's all up here. But you got to remember, our God walks on water. So whatever is over our head is under his feet. We're going to go through it, not around it. He says in verse 4, I have seen that every labor and every skill which is done is the result of rivalry between a man and his neighbor. This too is vanity, is striving after the wind. So check this out. Would you agree that there probably are two types of people? There are lazy people and workaholics. Right on? Some people work very hard at being lazy. I've seen it. Well, I probably lived it.
Yeah.
Work very, very hard at being lazy. And then there are some people that work themselves to death. This is what Solomon says about lazy people and people that work themselves to death. He says, lazy people, seeing the futility of running around for success, idle away their time and hurt both themselves and those who depend on them. See, God has called Christians to redeem their time, to use the time that God has given them wisely. See, there can no be such thing as a lazy Christian. Yet I believe our churches and our country and our world is full of them. Lazy Christians. Lazy in our pursuit after the Lord. Lazy in our prayer life. Lazy in our Bible study. Lazy in our Bible memorization of verses. Lazy in our coming together of saints and believers. Lazy because it's too far to drive. Lazy because, you know what, I just don't feel. Lazy because I don't want to go. Lazy because of this. I don't want to put on pants. I mean, whatever reason you might have. Laziness wins. And especially, guys, the Bible's very, very keen on this idea that when it comes to spiritual things and when it comes to drawing closer to the Lord, you will be more apt to be more lazy about that than anything else in the world.
Yeah.
The flesh wrestles against the things of God. The flesh wrestles against knowing it. The flesh wrestles against that alarm clock when God says, get up and come run to me and let's talk, and you hit snooze 15 times. That is the flesh. That is being lazy spiritually. Guys, in this church, me included, in areas of our life, I guarantee it spiritually, we are lazy. In areas that God has called us to what? Watch and pray. Yet we find ourselves asleep. Lazy people. Lazy people. But workaholics, the opposite, are often driven by envy, greed, and a constant desire to stay ahead of everyone else. It is that guy, it is that person, it is that coworker or that friend that's always got to be one step ahead. Always got to be the best. Always got to be above. Solomon says this, whether you're lazy or you're a workaholic, both are foolish. Both are equally foolish. So what's the answer, Solomon says? What's the answer to laziness and people that are obsessed with their work? The answer is to work hard, but with moderation. Take time to enjoy the gifts God has given you and realize that it is God who gives out of the assignments and the rewards, not us. See, that God gives the gifts. And guys, what has happened in Christianity is we have started worshiping the gifts when we have stopped worshiping the giver of the gifts. So what we do is we worship our downtime instead of worshiping God in our downtime. We start worshiping the gifts that God gives us instead of worshiping the giver of those gifts. And either we become very lazy in our walk with Jesus, or we become this obsessive, crazy person who doesn't make it, and you're just constantly going, and you never rest in the Lord. One of the biggest key things the Bible says that we are to work, but also to be still and what? Know that I'm God. Rest. God gave us His people, even in creation. He gave the nation of Israel. He said, take a day off and rest in me. Sabbath is going to be different for everybody, but we need to find a way to rest in the Lord. Verse 5, he says, but the fool folds his hands and consumes his own flesh. What it says is this is that person that sits back, sees needs, has been given gifts and talents and abilities, yet they sit back and do nothing. They sit back and do nothing. Like people that have gone to church for 20 years, yet they have never served one time. Like people inside that God has given them gifts and talents and abilities, and you know you have them, but you use them in worldly pursuits for worldly selfish gain and never for God's glory. That is what the Bible calls a fool. Someone that God has gifted, saved, and talented, and you turn around and use that gift for your glory. Instead of His, He calls you a fool. Because the gifts that God gave you were never intended to build you, but to build Him. To elevate the name of Jesus. Because here's what the truth is. I don't care where you stand. Every person needs to feel needed. Wanted. Every person in this room wants to feel productive and have a purpose. I mean, that is mostly what people do. They're trying to find their what? Purpose. Why they're here. What their calling is. What they're supposed to do. He goes on in verse 6. He says, one hand full of rest is better than two fists full of labor and striving after the wind. It's been said that this life is a competition for food, shelter, work, possessions, honor, and control. Would you not believe that that is our daily rap? We wake up and that is that is the world. We're competing. Guys, they have shows about people's houses, how much money they spend on cars and food, and I mean everything in our culture is driven on what people have. And we elevate, the Kardashians over the normal person because they've got all this money or all this fame, and the little people that's our goal. That's who we're supposed to be like. And we have all these misconceptions, and this is what he says. It's a competition for food, shelter, work, possessions, honor, and control. Do you know what that is? That is the philosophy of atheistic humanism. Saying this, I'm God. Well, there is no God, but I'm the boss. I control and manage and run my own life. Guys, we have too many Christians living in the flesh with this idea, who have been saved by grace through the blood of Jesus Christ. Every day wake up and say, I will do what I want when I want. How is that salvation and surrender? How is that commitment and love to the Lord if you never bow your knee before Him and say, what is your will for me today? I put my life totally in your hands. Whatever you say goes. I trust you completely. Instead of doing your life how you want to do it, and then when you mess up, then you want God to intervene. I do what I want, do what I want, do what I want. Oh, that now help me.
Yeah.
And for some people that cry that out, He goes, don't know you.
Right.
Or if He does know you, do have a relationship, He goes, where have you been? I haven't heard from you in months. This ain't how the relationship works. Not a genie. I'm your father. Your father. If you're serious. Now this isn't just a cry wolf. If you're serious about repentance, if you're serious about me helping you because you're ready to turn around and come back to me, then I'll get involved. Anything else? Don't expect him to get involved. He sees from up there, guys. You have to remember.
Right.
He sees it. And not just that, He sees the very hearts of man. He knows that 2 minutes from now, if He bails you out, He will turn on you.
Yeah.
Think about it. Think about it. A lot of the times, a lot of the prayers, a lot of the requests we ask from God are for Him to bless us, to benefit us, to get us out of something or to give us something. I'm not sure if that's what prayer was totally intended for. We have this idea that power makes you right. America has this idea. Because if I have the power, I'm right. Because who can contest me? Who can come against me? Without God, the only motive is me. Think about it. If there is no God, the only motive for life is what? Me. What I want. My relationships are not because I enjoy them, it's because I can get something out of you. Like, I'm not friends with Miguel just because I love him like a little brother and all this, but I have an underlying plan that he has something I need or want, and I will befriend him until I get it. Guys, most of our relationships, if we think, are set up that way. That is why as soon as they say one thing that offends you, you can just write them off. Because you never loved them with a love that was real or true or godly. You loved them for you. The moment you start loving people for them, it'll be harder to dismiss and discard people so quickly. It'll be a lot more difficult. Guys, Christianity, the church, unfortunately, has turned into a dog-eat-dog kind of situation and atmosphere. Guys, there's more competition in church than I've ever seen in my life. We're constantly comparing ourselves to this church or to that church. And guys, we as Christians are constantly comparing ourselves to each other. That church down the street is not our status. Our status is Jesus and however He builds this church and however He builds His people. And your quota or your goal for Christianity is not your pastor, it's Jesus Christ. He is the author and the finisher, the perfecter. He's the beginning and the end. You don't get to a point and stop. You don't look to your pastor and go, oh, if I could just get to that, I'd be good. There's a quote that says this, is we never stop reading the Bible. We never stop studying the Bible. We never stop following Jesus until we meet Him face to face. We never stop until we meet Him face to face. The pursuit of Him never stops. Church is not dog eat dog. Clint was teaching in Sunday school out of Philippians. No, it's about letting people go first. It's about putting other people before you. It's about loving others genuinely. See, in your heart, you've got to ask, can I, do I, am I equipped? God, why don't I love people? Why do I struggle? Have I been hurt? Have I been taught not to? Am I scarred? Am I cold? And we need the Holy Spirit to reignite and to heat those things up. Verse 7, he says, then I looked again at vanity under the sun. So Solomon's at this point, he said, it doesn't matter where I look, everything is worthless. Everything is meaningless. Because the life without God is full of vanity. And we think we've seen everything, but just wait, look at verse 8. He says, there was a certain man without a dependent, having neither son nor brother, yet there was no end to all his labor. Indeed, his eyes were not satisfied with riches, and he never asked, and for whom am I laboring and depriving myself of pleasure? This too is vanity, and it is a grievous task. See, the man, this man, maybe you, maybe somebody you know, is the very center of his own existence. There's a man that I knew that he's dead now. He had neither wife, nor child, nor legal heir. Yet his only intent was to get and hoard money as if he had the largest family to provide for. He hoarded and fought and kept and maintained his money like his family depended on it. Yet he was all alone. And he died all alone. He loved his money. He loved to keep his money. I'm talking probably had millions of dollars, yet would argue over a 35-cent coupon. Because he wanted to save the money. The money, the money, the money. This man also, I started thinking, you know what else? This is what he's talking about. People that have money. But this guy also, he refused himself the comforts of life out of his own gains. Meaning he would have the very bare minimum of everything. Just so he could have more money in the bank account and have very little. See, this is not only vanity, but this is the excess of foolishness. This is the picture of being a fool. Guys, let me ask you a question. Let's say like payday or whatever, or you get a little bit of extra money that is not given to bills, or it's just, the Lord gave it to you to go blow. However, very rarely that happens. I don't know about you, but it's more fun for me than going and blowing that by myself, but grabbing somebody that I enjoy and going and blowing it together. Isn't that greater?
Yeah.
It's more, I mean, yeah, I can, and there's times I like to go shop, but as a majority, as a rule, I like going about, that's what I bet, we blow some money. And it's fun. Whether it's $20 or doing, however you get to do it. But doing life with people is better than doing life alone. Yet, we isolate ourselves, and we are alone. Even if we're married, have kids, attend church, teach a class, you're a boss, you go to school, you can still have all those things and still be alone. And it's not because, you know what the Bible says, if you want to have friends, if you want to be loved, you have to go first. One who wants friends must first show himself to be friendly. If you want to be loved, you must love others as yourself. You know what? Relationships are risky, aren't they? To trust people, to love people, to let people in. And the Bible says that you're to cautiously move forward with people, but it's hard. But you know what? It's what's sad. Very, very sad is for somebody to have a whole lot of stuff and die alone. And you know what? This guy, he had nobody to give it to. All this stuff accumulated. Where does it go? Charity? Good? I mean, think about it. He spent his entire life accumulating, scrooging, just money, and then at the end, couldn't even give it away. Had no one to take it. Guys, spiritually, I don't want you to live that way. Spiritually bankrupt. That on the inside, you've got nothing that's real. Nothing that's tangible. Your relationship with God on the outside looks amazing, but on the inside, you're alone. There is no relationship. It's just a facade. It's just a mask. That you don't, in a week's time, you don't crack open your Bible ever. Then how do you ever expect to hear from Him? How? By the one Bible verse you get on Facebook? The verse of the day? That ain't going to change your life. That's called lazy Christianity. Because what that has done is touch you. Well, I've read one verse today. I can take hell on now. I read my Bible verse of the day. And I even forwarded it. I posted it on my page. I am super spiritual. I've done my duty with God. What kind of relationship was that? If I had that kind of relationship with my wife, she would divorce me or kill me. Probably kill me.
Knowing your wife.
Yeah, knowing my wife. See, knowing my wife. Yeah, y'all all know. But if I just text her every now and then, thinking about you, that's all I said all week, never saw her, what would she think? He's cheating on her. He's found somebody else. He's moved on. I'm not important anymore. He doesn't love me anymore. How do you think the Lord feels about our lives when we claim to be Christian, yet He never hears from you? He never sees you. He never has any idea where you are. And I'm talking about a relationship status. I'm not talking about being God and all-knowing. But the fact that you claim to love Him like you love your spouse, yet you never see Him, talk to Him, spend time with Him, and you never shut up long enough to let Him speak to you. It's all about you. It's all about you. God is for you, not that you're for God. You are made for Him. He is not made for you. We need the relationship with Him. He does not need the relationship with us.
Right.
We got it flipped. Like I became a Christian. I did God a favor. I did Him a solid. Listen, guys, that's not what a relationship. God's heart has to be broken over His children who says, I love you, I need you, I want you, and they have split. They have moved out of the house and they've moved in with the world.
Yeah.
Yet they put their Christian bumper stickers on their car. And their God Bless America on their front steps. And their family Bible in the corner. Yet all the while, on a day in, daily basis, Jesus never even enters their mind. Much less their heart. Don't be that Christian. Solomon is saying that kind of life, where Jesus, where God never comes to your mind or heart, is a wasted life. You will be sad and miserable and alone because God created a vacuum. He created a void in our heart. It's called eternity. And Jesus Christ is the only one that can fill that void. He said, I have placed eternity in man's heart, and that eternity is the death of Jesus Christ. It is the resurrection of Jesus Christ. That is what needs to be filled in our lives for us to feel whole and complete and to allow us to have a relationship with God. Everything else is meaningless. I get really excited about new things. I like new stuff. But you know what? In 6 months, I'm going to want something else.
Yeah.
Right.
Because something else will come out. Something else will be cool. Something else will be great. Or something else will be new. I just got the iPhone 7. Or not me, Ken did. I got the iPhone 6. He got the 7. But guess what? In a few months, what's the rate's going to be? iPhone 8. And after that, 9. And after that, and after that, I don't know. But you know what? Because there's nothing new under the sun.
That's right.
So it doesn't matter how many things you try to fill your heart with, how many keys it's never going to be enough. Unless you get full of this. Jesus says, I will always be enough.
Yeah.
He says, I am the living water, and if you drink of me, you will never ever thirst again. I am the living bread. I'm the bread of life. If you eat of me, you will never hunger again. And what he means is this: yes, we will always be hungry for more of God, but this is what he means. You won't go looking for the world to be satisfied. You will find all your satisfaction and joy and need in one place. And I don't know if you've ever had that experience in life where you had nothing left and you ran to him and then you left from his presence full. That's the intent, purpose of life. Verse 10, he says, if neither of them fails, or if either of them falls, then one will lift up his companion. But woe to the one who falls, when there is not another to lift him up. Proverbs 27:17 says that iron sharpens iron, as a man sharpens his friend. Guys, that's what life is to be. It's a sharpening. It's finding those 2, 3, 4, 5 people in a lifetime that sharpen you and you sharpen them. See, we can't have this idea that we're going to be everybody's friend and everybody's going to be our friend. Jesus, out of 12, he had 3. And out of those 3, only 1 showed up to the cross.
That's right.
He had hundreds of disciples and people that followed him. He had 12 men that he picked for himself, and then he had 3 of those that were super close to him, but only 1 that showed up when it counted.
Yeah. There you go.
So it doesn't matter how many social network friends you have, or how many people you claim to know. Who are your friends?
Yeah.
And I'm talking, you know what I mean? Who are your friends? That's family. Who are the people that love you and they know you? That's what identifies a friend. They love you because they know you. Good, bad, know you. That's what it means to love and to be loved. To know that, to see that. If anyone falls, the other will lift him up. Guys, that is the vow you made. If you were married this morning, that is the vow you made on your wedding day. When you, not if you fall, but when you fall, I'm not going to kick you. I'm not going to throw rocks. I'm not going to make a point at everybody and say, I'm going to pick you up. My job for my wife is when she falls to lift her up. And when I stumble and fall, it's her job to pick me up. And we do that for a lifetime. Guys, as Christians, brothers and sisters in Christ, that is what we do for one another. Sometimes I call somebody or I text them and they think I'm chewing them out or being upset at them. And what it is, you know what it is? It's you have fallen. Let's get back up. This isn't discouragement or no, you're laying there. You're vulnerable for attack. And I'm just trying to warn you, I'm trying to help you. Hey, if you need a hand, if you need to get back up, let's go. Let's get up and let's go.
Yeah.
It's not judgment or criticizing. You know what? Because I've been flat on my back before too. And by the grace of God, we can end up there at any time. And that's why God's people need to be looking and saying, instead of judging, saying, look, get up and let's go. You know what? Let's start together. Let's walk together. If one falls off his horse or out of his carriage or into a ditch, the other will endeavor to raise him up again. This, as it is true and natural, so in a figurative and metaphorical sense. So with religious people, especially. If you fall into outward distress, poverty, or want, your spiritual friend or friends should distribute to this necessity. If he falls into sin or errors, as a good man may say, such as are the same religious society, with him will take some pains to convince him of the error of his ways, to convert him from it, to save a soul from death and cover a multitude of sins. For if your brother falls into sin, to which the best of men are liable, such are the spiritual endeavor to restore him in a spirit of meekness. If you have sinned, if you have fallen short, don't be offended when people recognize that and tell you that. That is love. Hey, bro, haven't seen you in a few weeks. You're not responding very much to my calls or texts. You know, it's different than it used to be. What's up? Don't judge me, bro.
Yeah.
You don't know me. You don't know my life. You don't like. You're right. I'm asking what's going on. I'm curious. I don't even know the details, but why have you ran from the Lord? Not why you're running from me. Why you're running. I'm a byproduct of you running from Him. We can't have a relationship because you've run from Him. That's what he's talking about. If one of us falls, guys, let's pick each other up.
Yeah.
Pick each other up. Say, let's go. Verse 11, furthermore, we're almost done. Furthermore, two lie down together, they keep warm. But who can be warm alone? It has been scientifically proven that one of the best ways to deal with hypothermia is to have another person snuggle up to you. It's not just a metaphor, it's science. That you produce body heat with two people better than one. People have actually survived in freezing conditions because of this. That if they were by themselves, guess what? They would have been dead. But the sole reason they were alive is because they were with somebody else. This is very practical advice, guys. If you don't have anybody in life that you're walking with, you need somebody to walk with.
Yeah.
You need an accountability partner. You need a friend. You might need a spouse, and you need to figure out what life's going to take for you to get that. But you need somebody, pastor, parent. You need somebody who's not afraid to look you in the eyeball and say, "You're going wrong," or be the same person look you in the eyeball and say, "You're doing a good job."
Amen.
You need that person. And you need to be grown up enough that when they do say something that you don't like, not to get all hurt and run the other way. But to man up and say, "You're right. How do we fix that? What do we do?" Well, you know what our master says? "You're mean, you're not good." And we run and hide and we blame God. We never darken the door of church again. Because God's this cruel taskmaster. Because this one guy said, "You know what? I shouldn't be running around sleeping with chicks." Who called him the boss? Well, you're the one that claimed to be a Christian. I'm just telling you what God said.
Come on.
If you won't read it for yourself, I'll just tell you what it says, and I can't help you. You're offended by it. But you are offended because you know it's right. You are offended because the Holy Spirit lives in you, and He says what you are doing is wrong. That's what bothers us the most. And it's not that they're right. The Holy Spirit says you're wrong. And most of us know how to fix our sin. Whatever sin you're stuck in right now, you know the solution. We just refuse it. We ignore it. We reject it. The Holy Spirit says, this is what it is. This is what we do. You know the problem. You know the solution, but you just stare at it. Never making a move. And then blaming God that nothing ever happens. Right? What happens? Verse 12. And if one can overpower him who is alone, two can resist him. A cord of 3 strands is not quickly torn apart. Here's an answer. 2 are stronger than 1. 2 are stronger than 1. 2 can resist where 1 may flee. 2 might stand when 1 may run. 3 ropes bound together is much stronger than 1 rope. Guys, Solomon cannot reiterate this enough. This is one of the reasons God gave Adam Eve. This is one of the reasons why you need somebody in your life, because you know what? Life at times is going to get very hard, very dark, and you're going to want to run. You're going to want to hide. You're going to want to pull an Elijah. You're going to want to curse God and die. You're going to want to do all these things. But if somebody is in tune with you in your life and you've let them in, guess what? You will be more likely to fight than to flight. You'll be more apt to stand than to run and hide. Who in your life right now is that person? Or who are those persons? If you have more than one, you are blessed. If you have more than 1 or 2 people in your life that meet the criteria, you are blessed. But the question is this: not only do you have those people in your life, can you be that person to somebody else? Are you equipped, right? Or is sin disqualifying you from being that person? Is disobedience disqualifying you from being that person? Is laziness disqualifying you from being that person? Guys, what is keeping you from being all that God has called you to be this morning? And not just for you, but for other people. Guys, that's why sometimes our testimonies and that there are stories of grace that God will use what we've been through to help other people through the same situations. That's why they got to be known and they got to be shared. Verse 13, a poor yet wise lad is better than an old foolish king who no longer knows how to receive instruction. You know that person that never listens to nothing? No matter what advice you give, you can say go left, and what do? They go right. That's spite. God says as young men, it would be wise for us to grab an older man who has walked with the Lord, whose life is successful in all the biblical spiritual terms. Grab onto them, hold onto them, watch them, and walk with them. Because I need somebody older than me who's been through the trials and fires of life and still stands with the Lord. Because you know what? I need to learn from that. Everybody in this room needs somebody like that. Advancement, getting to the top, is meaningless. Position, popularity, and prestige are very poor goals for your life. They are shadows without substance. Many people seek recognition for their accomplishments, but people are fickle, quickly changing and quickly and easily. How much better to seek God's approval, because God's love never changes. Think about this. I don't care whether you love this guy or hate him, or whatever your standing is on this guy. It doesn't matter. But for a while, this man served a purpose. And he was the best that we had at the time. Tony Romo was the quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. Well, then we go this way. You want to laugh at him? Let's go to Troy Aikman. Troy Aikman was, no one laughing now. Troy Aikman was the best quarterback the Cowboys had in the 90s. He won 3 Super Bowls. Before him was who? Roger Staubach. But you know what? As great as those men were, and as awesome as quarterbacks, guess what? It's not before long some younger person and replaces them. Because people are replacing them. What was hot today will be gone tomorrow. People are fickle. I mean, now it's all about Dak. I mean, they resorted. We were at the basketball game where they had Romo shooting threes. I mean, you're not in football stadiums no more. They get demoted into basketball. But you know what? The thing is he's going to go, he's going to do something, he will be forgotten. From the average person, no, it's all about Dak. You know what? As soon as Dak gets hurt or something, guess what? They'll be, who's next? Who's next? We won't even think about Dak. Because you know what? People are fickle. You want. Why are you trying so hard to get people to love what you do? To love who you are? You're trying to impress these people who won't remember you anyways. Guys, the only people that we live to serve for, the only person is the Lord Jesus Christ. Because His mind never changes, His love never changes. He is constant, the same today. I live to serve Him, guys. We live for an audience of one. We serve one God. We do not serve each other out of authority. We serve to help one another. But I don't bow before you, and you should not bow before me. We bow together before the Lord Jesus Christ, and we serve God, but we do not. What we do, all we try to do is impress people. I'm better than you. Look what I have. Look what you don't have. Look at kids. They are consumed with it. Mine in particular. Ugh. There's that age, man. Where no one's wrong. Yet they're all three wrong. But they are defending and justifying their position to the death. Are we not any different with the Lord? I'm right. You're not going to tell me to do any different. Not to be. We're obstinate. We argue. And God is just sitting there going, "You're wrong." Or He sits on your life to tell you you are wrong. But like my 6-year-olds, you will, well, so I'm still right. Either you know you're wrong, because you don't want to listen. You'll never accomplish much for God's glory. For He's come, verse 14, out of prison to become king, even though He was born in His kingdom. See, let me ask you, sometimes God works in the opposite ways than we think He's going to, right?
Right.
You expect God to move this way, and He comes crashing out of there. God does things in ways that we could never expect. Isaiah 55, 8-9 says, His thoughts are higher than our thoughts. His ways are higher than our ways. And He does things that we will never understand or comprehend. I mean, why did He send His Son to be crucified? That's crazy. Why would God want to save us at all?
Right.
That's crazy. Why does He do the things that I don't understand? And how He does. Why did these people have to die? Why did God let these things happen? His thoughts are above mine. His ways are above mine. I'm a man a very little guy who lives in a little town, in a little house, in a little place, and in the big scheme of things, outside of Jesus Christ loving me, to the world means very little. Guys, to this world, proving McLaughlin means nothing. I could die on my way home today, and the world would not shed a tear. They will keep, but yet, I'm constantly trying to please the world. I'm constantly trying to find my hope in the world. Well, if I die today, the world will not miss me. The world will keep on going. My poor Mima has been gone. You know, I was thinking this about yesterday. She's been gone a little over a week now. But you know what? The world is, the sun still rises. The sun still sets. The world, and I loved her. The world don't stop.
No.
Just because you stopped.
Right.
That's why you better not put your faith in the world. You put your faith in Christ and Christ alone. You put your faith in Jesus and Jesus alone. And then there's nothing, there's a good old Metallica song that says nothing else matters.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you put Jesus there, then it's truth. Nothing else matters but Jesus. Not what you have or don't have. It matters who you have. Who you have. In fact, I'm going to read the last verse and close. Verse 15 and 16, he says this, I have seen all the living under the sun, thronged to the side of the second Latin replaces him. There is no end to all the people, to all who were before them, and even the ones who will come later will not be happy with him. For this too is vanity and a striving after the wind. Solomon closes chapter 4 with this, is that people, being fickle, will always cling and run to those who are popular at the time. Who won the Super Bowl 3 years ago? You're not sure. But during that football season, it was all the way. Brave. Because it changes. You hung on to it at the time, but as soon as that time passed, guess what? We're looking for something new. Guys, I